An artist's duty, as far as I'm concerned, is to reflect the times. I think that is true of painters, sculptors, poets, musicians. It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's their choice. But I choose to reflect the times and the situations in which I find myself. That to me is my duty. And at this crucial time in our lives, when everything is so desperate, when every day is a matter of survival, I don't think you can help but be involved. Young people, black and white, know this. That's why they're so involved in politics. We will shape and mold this country, or it will not be molded and shaped at all anymore. So I don't think you have a choice. How can you be an artist and not reflect the times? That to me is the definition of an artist.
Good morning and welcome to another conversation with Mose. And as always, I pray life is treating you well wherever you are in the world, and that you're one day closer to your dreams, hopes, prayers, and aspirations coming true. That was a quote from the late, great, and beautifully talented Nina Simone, sharing her thoughts on art and what she feels artists need to do in terms of their activism and what they should really put into their expression. And I thought it was really great to use her as a quote for today, or at least introduce her into my next podcast episode for 2025. This is my second podcast for the year, and I really just again wanted to be inspired. I wanted something, as always, to be thought-provoking or something to make you think, as it makes me think and ponder about what my next moves are or what I really want to discuss. I always want it to be something that inspires people or something that makes you take a step back and say, you know what, I never thought about it like that. But anyway, my podcast episode for today is called How Do You Keep Racism Out of Your Relationships? Let me say that one more time. How do you keep racism out of your relationships? And I'm talking about romantic, family, friendships, so on and so forth. And I'm going to expound, and of course, I'm going to use myself as an example. And what I mean by that is my experiences have been so interesting, as I've shared in previous podcasts, with my experiences in Oklahoma and even my experiences in Georgia with racism. And I have to admit, like I said this once before, it's created an anxiety in me, a rage, a toxic energy that I'm not even accustomed to. And it's not easy to unpack it. And I feel like I'm constantly enraged, like something James Baldwin once said, to be a black American is to be enraged almost all the time. And I find myself constantly, no matter if I'm in the grocery store, if I'm in my car, ready to fight somebody. I'm ready to pop off or snap. And I don't think black people can be racist, for one. I really don't think that. And I did a whole podcast on that. But I do think that we have our issues with white people, certain types of white people. And sometimes I don't know how to turn it off. And when I'm in my presence of my partner or I'm talking to my family, I feel like it's there, like an elephant in the room. And I know they worry about me having this monkey on my back, so to speak. And it's something I'm working on. I can honestly say it's really affected my spirit, my everyday life, because I've never felt so taken back that I'm having conversations and experiences in 2025 as a 56-year-old man. Certain things I've never experienced before. But then I look back, racism has always followed me. And to be honest, like I said once before, I feel like the kind of black person that I am, I know I'm not the only person that experiences the stuff that I experience. And what I mean is I think there are certain types of black people that white people feel comfortable with. And they don't feel threatened in any way. And what I mean by that, what I've discovered is that insecure white people are threatened by black people that they either are more educated or more gifted or whatever they feel threatened by. But secure white people don't care at all to me. They're not threatened. They don't feel anything for you. But learning that, I feel as though I'm always picked on because I am the quiet guy in the room. I'm not trying to make white people feel comfortable. You know, I do wear my hair natural. I've had locks and afro puffs and afros, and I really don't care. I feel the same way about black people. I mean, I love my people, but it's not my job to make you feel comfortable. So I said that to say that sometimes when I'm talking to my family or my partner, my friends, I can feel the rage bubbling up in me. So sometimes I don't want to talk about it. You know, I don't want to talk about the shitty day I had with my supervisor or it's hard for me, like I said, to turn it off. So I feel like it's constantly hovering over me. And even if I'm playing with my dog, I'm thinking, I feel like it's something I have to pray about. And I know it sounds really simple. You know, you just don't take it home with you. And it's easier said than done. But I find myself constantly thinking about it. And I mean like angry, like I said, and it's just something that I'm actually, hopefully in the future, getting a therapist to help me contend with it. But it's just one of those things that when you have really had traumatic experiences, and I would love to hear from other people and see your thoughts on even interracial relationships, people that are in, like I said, black and white or what's the word I'm looking for? Black on black relationships that are not in those relationships. I would love to hear your thoughts on how you handle racism and bad experiences. I mean, do you bring it home? Do you compartmentalize it? How do you separate your life from the world? And there's so much going on in the world that I'm not going to get into. So much. The year hasn't even started fully. And there has been so much to contend with. And not just racism, but just stuff. And I want to know how people do it. Like, how do you separate it? How do you... And I don't think it's the job of your partner or your family to help you with it. And what I mean by that is that you have to decide every day. I mean, we all have to decide who we're going to be consciously. Like, I'm not going to be angry. I'm not going to let this affect me. I'm not going to be upset. And I know it's easier said than done. And like I said, I don't even have children. I mean, I can't imagine managing their anger, your husband, your spouse. We all have our challenges. We do. But I think, again, it gets back to, for me, your social circle is very important to me. I can't be around people that are angry too. I mean, as angry as me, it's not going to help me at all. And I've never been so particular as I am this year. I mean, in terms of how I spend my time, my money, my energy. I can do bad by myself. I don't need nobody to gaslight me. Like, as I said before, I want to be as focused as I can be. And I got a few irons in the fire. And I realize what's going on in the world. I don't want to be distracted, but at the same time, I can't focus on it. I can't let this rage and this energy consume me because I really feel like that's what it's doing, and it's killing me slowly. And I do believe it's a disease. And I don't want my cancer coming back. I don't want to have heart problems. I don't want to have high blood pressure. I don't want to have any of those things. So I can't be around people that highlight that, you know. And again, it's a conscious decision that we all have to make. And I don't think all white people are bad. Like I said, I don't think all black people are good. I don't think any race is all one thing. I think they're just good people and bad people at the end of the day. And discovering who those people are is the challenge for me. Because like I said before, I don't trust people like that. I really genuinely don't. And I was one of those people that made friends easily. I don't meet strangers. But it's sad that we're living in a world where people are so deceptive and sneaky, and I I don't recognize that. And my spirit of discernment is so off right now that I ask God to help me with, literally help me with it. Like, help me with my being able to judge people's character, because I genuinely don't know. And it all comes back to, how do you keep that out of your relationship? And I don't mean like you can't talk to your family or friends about it, but it seems like the more I talk about it, the more upset that I get. And so, but not talking about it is healthy, isn't healthy either. But again, it's, you know, we're living in such tumultuous times, toxic times, that I want to know how people are processing it, you know. And I do my exercise, I read, I do everything I can to relieve that pressure in my mind and to find that peace of mind. But again, it gets back to deciding that. And that's what I pray for, that God helps me with finding my peace of mind, because it's all consuming sometimes. Because sometimes I feel like if I'm offended or if something happens, I'm mad all day. You know, I'm mad all day. And I did a whole episode on Karens. I could, the rage I feel for certain white women is just, I don't feel any sympathy for them. I really don't. I think they're the most treacherous, most devil. I mean, the things, black men have gotten killed. People have gotten killed behind the lies of a white woman. And anytime a white woman lies or in my presence, it's a rage that comes up in me that I can't even, I've never hurt anybody. I never would, but I can't explain the rage that when someone is trying to mess with your character, your everyday life, trying to make you out to be a criminal or a murderer or anything. And I've had those situations happen to me. I've got into these major conflicts with white women throughout my history, and I can't tell you, it's something, and I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. It's just one of those things, just like, I could fuck up a bitch, you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna be real. I'm like, bitch, who you talking to? And I've had issues with black women as well. I've had issues with women at work. Very few men, you know. I've had issues with men, white men and black men at work, but not quite the same situation. But as you can hear, there's a rage, and I mean, I clench my fists and I have to just walk away. That's why I'm the quiet guy in the room, observing people and paying attention. And I don't want to be the guy that's constantly angry, you know. And I know my parents worry about me, my partner worries about me, because I am the guy that you don't expect to pop off. You know, I am the guy that's the gentleman, and I'm the nice guy. But when people see this other side of me, they're like startled. And it's like, but it's always there. You never had a reason to see it. So why would you have experienced it? So it's not something I go around doing, but I only speak when I have to. I only confront people when I have to. When it goes beyond, when they go over the boundary, then I'm like, okay, if I've already told you and warned you, and then you do it, then yeah, you're going to see a side of me. Now, as far as cursing and, you know, the only time I get like that is if I feel forced to, you know. And again, these last few years have been really challenging for me. And I really do feel like it gets back to the type of personality that I have. I have a strong personality only when I need to have a strong personality. I'm aggressive, I'm outspoken, and I love that about me, though. I do. And I do feel like it makes people uncomfortable because I am outspoken. I do ask a lot of questions. If it don't make sense, then explain it to me. You know, make it make sense. So that's how I am. And I know that it's gotten me in trouble. It's gotten me in complicated situations, especially on my jobs. If it doesn't make sense to me, it doesn't make sense to me. You know, how does that benefit me? So if for example, if somebody's offering me a promotion or a job opportunity and it's a job title, I'm not into titles. I'm not into titles. I want the money. I remember when I was about 24 and my manager offered me a position as a key holder, which is somebody who basically opens and closes the store, counts the money, kind of assists the manager. And I asked him, was there any more money involved? And he said, well, no. I said, well, then I don't want the position. And he's looking at me like, well, you're going to be this, you're going to be that. I said, I don't care about titles. If it's not reflected in my check, then I don't want to do it. And I still feel the same way. Don't give me a title. I mean, I could care less about a title. If the money don't reflect my title, then I don't want the position. Because I also feel like black people that are educated that get put in management positions are worked to death because they feel like, oh, we gave you a management position, we're going to work the hell out of you. Fuck that. That's why I've never been a manager. If you going to pay me to deal with some bullshit, then fine, I'll deal with it. Money ain't everything, but I'll be damned if I'm going to struggle to pay my bills, make ends meet because I got a title. It doesn't work like that for me. And I'm a firm believer of looking people directly in the eye. And it's just something like, I want you to understand what I'm saying and how I'm saying it and why I'm saying it. Because I don't ever want you to think, that's the one thing I am quick with white people, really anybody. I'm looking you in your eye and I'm telling you who I am. And if you feel threatened by that, oh well. But I have to put this in my podcast because I want people to know who I am. I'm not an asshole, but I can be an asshole. And again, I'm not violent. I'm not physical. But I'm one of those people that I'll call you out because this is my life. This is how I make a living. This is what, if you messing with, for example, if you're messing with my money, my livelihood, where I make my money, that's a problem for me. I don't even have people calling me at work while I'm at work. It's like, that's where I make my money. I'm there to do a job. I have an expectation. You pay me for a job that I'm doing for you. Now, if there's issues with my payroll or my check or anything, as I've said before, I'm one of those people, I'm going directly to the supervisor. I'm not the guy that sits around the break room and complains, oh, this person is this and that. I'm going right to your office and I'm going to ask you, excuse me, is there something going on with my check? Because I didn't get the right amount of money. I'm expecting my supervisor to fix it. I don't care who he is or who she is. It's not my job to worry about that. That's your job. And I'm one of those people, again, I'm going in your office, I'm closing the door and I'm saying, hey, what's going on here? And I'm expecting you to say, oh, let me get on that, Mose. Let me get on top of that. You're not going to tell me to wait till the next paycheck. And that has happened before. And they'll never do it again. Because like I said, you either pulling that check out your ass or I'm leaving. So I have an expectation when it comes to my pay. I'm giving you what you want. And again, white people don't always identify with that, with me. But again, it's not my problem. Because if you're a good manager, you won't let those things happen. And I know people are wondering, oh my God, Mose, but this is therapeutic for me. This is necessary. I can't walk around again being angry all the time. Some of us can't afford to get a therapist or to be. So I put it in my poetry. I put it in my art. And I do talk to people about how I feel because I want to know what they did. What did you do to feel better? What did you do to alleviate some of the pressures of the racism and the Jim Crow and all these experiences? I mean, I got hit with a beer can, and I think I've mentioned it before. When I was a teenager, like 14 years old, I got hit with a beer can by some white teenagers while I was walking with my best friend. And I have a list of things that have happened to me. Getting put in a police car by a police officer because he thought I robbed a store, and traumatic experiences. I mean, again, I didn't realize how much I was affected by it until recent years. My car was vandalized a couple years ago, and again, you carry those things with you. And it's hard to separate yourself from it. And I feel bad for people that have had worse experiences than me, you know. And it's my heart rate goes up if I see the police behind me. I've never really been pulled over. And I don't want to have all this anxiety. I'm just not proud of it. I'm not. Just like doing a podcast on racism, we have to talk about it. Like she said, we have to reflect the times. I mean, but at the same time, I don't want it to consume me. I want to be able to enjoy my cup of coffee or taking a walk with my dog. I don't want to be that guy that's angry all the time, because I feel like I am. I do. And I know my parents worry about me, because if they hear it in my voice, they're worried that I'm going to lose it one day. Hell, I worry about it. But I literally have learned to walk away. But I feel like I bring it home with me. And then I can't sleep and I can't eat. And, and it's something that I'm owning it. I'm being honest about it. I'm really being honest. I don't want to be that guy that's letting Karens control me. And getting better at going to God and saying, you know what, God, I want you to have this. And I am going to say this, and the only thing I'm going to say about this is that also with the political climate, I have a major anxiety about it. And I'm not going to mention that person's name. I'm not going to get into name calling or who. It's just I'm very concerned about my state of mind and my well-being. And living in this part of the country, I've never felt so much toxic energy in my life. Just never felt it. You can feel it when you walk in the room, and they don't hide it. And it's different. It's something I have to really work at. And I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not. And I can honestly say it is affecting my relationships. Maybe not to them, but it is to me. I mean, I feel like I'm not myself. And I am a naturally happy person. I am a naturally laid back person. But I find myself very, very guarded, like all the time. Like, again, ready to pop off, ready to fight. And I'm at a stage where I'm contemplating gun ownership. I've never owned a gun before. Never. Now, I'm contemplating it. And no, I don't want to kill anybody, but I don't want anybody to kill me either. So these are all things that are on my mind. I can't go to the gym enough. I can't do certain things enough. And you can't see that on my face, like my pictures. And I'm not being deceptive. I'm just saying I just don't share. But podcasting, and I can't wait to have more guests on my show. I do want to have other guests to have other perspectives. It's really important to me, because I want to know what you're thinking. How do you keep from losing it? How do you keep from going the fuck off? Like, how do you keep from remaining cool? And there's some days, and I want to know what other people are doing. I mean, I believe in prayer. Don't get me wrong. I just want to know, what steps are you taking to relieve yourself of toxic energy? Do you just rise above it? Do you just ignore it? Are you compartmentalizing? Are you suppressing it? Because I'm not good at suppression. It comes up somewhere. It does. And again, I don't want this podcast to be like I'm complaining. I hope it doesn't come off that way. It really is about, for me, wanting to be honest this year, and about my circle, and like I said, how I spend my time, how I spend my energy. If you're in my circle, you're there because I want you to be. And even how I am around other people, I don't want to gaslight other people. I refuse to do that. I'm not telling people what they should be doing. And if I am, it's positive. We have to take the time to self-love, to nurture and care for ourselves, and be honest about what we're really feeling. Don't lie. I mean, literally don't lie, especially to yourself and to the people that love you. Tell them the truth. Tell them how you really feel. And maybe they can help you with it. Maybe they can relieve some of the pressure. and put it in your art. We do need to let the world know, generations after us, what we did to handle tough situations, just like the people before us that told us what they did. And we have to record it. We have to. Our history is important to us because, again, the next generation, what are they going to know how to do if we don't tell them to say, hey, this is what we did? And I believe it might not happen in my lifetime. Maybe I won't see certain things, but I'll be damned if I'm going to sit back and not record my truth about what I was going through at that time. And yes, I'm a gay black man, but like I said, I've spent most of my life focusing on the black side of my life. Focusing on the gay part of my life is just a luxury to me. Again, I'm prideful, but again, there's so much disrespect that I've gotten from the black side of my life. I want equal pay. I want respect. I want equal treatment. And I'm going to fight till I get it. I'm going to fight till I get it. But again, I know this podcast episode was a little different, but I don't think you would expect anything less from me. And as I said before, I do want to have guests on and interviews and other perspectives to outside of my own, because again, I do feel like it is a little one-sided. But I want to know also, comment, let me know. Go to my page and actually share your thoughts about the podcast and how do you feel? What are you doing? I'm open to suggestions when it comes to healing that part of myself and just coping with the day-to-day or handling things better the day-to-day. But anyway, also, I want to talk about my store, All Things Moetic. Please stop by. Just take a look around. I'm going to be adding new product. I'm going to be having sales off and on throughout the year. And of course, it's always going to be black and reflective and positive and historic. You're going to see a little bit of everything. Like I said, I'm trying to branch out into some other products. I want to add more t-shirts and other items as well. So be on the lookout for that. And again, just keep me in your prayers. I'm embarking on some different endeavors this year. I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited. So again, I just wanted to be honest, and I want to thank you for listening to me, just listening, taking the time to hear my thoughts, my point of view. I really appreciate it. And as always, I pray life is treating you well, wherever you are in the world, and that you're one day closer to your dreams, hopes, prayers, and aspirations coming true. Thank you for listening.